This is Ken Kibler, Director of Training and Client Business Support. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And so we'll discuss some of our normal topics as well as a little bit of a different look at the Network 2.0 and some of the steps successful CSPs are taking to achieve superior service and profitability. Without further ado, I'll turn this over to Jeff Walczak.
Thank you very much, Ken. As always, we need to let you know that eTruckBiz is not endorsed, sponsored, approved, or otherwise affiliated with FedEx Corporation. And at eTruckBiz is business support for FedEx service providers. eTruckBiz allows you to organize your administrative functions, optimize your productivity and efficiency, and maximize your financial results. So you can capitalize on Network 2.0. As we always do, let's take a look at the volume trends. Best way to describe it this week is flat, but at least on the pickup side, it's above the trend line. So same thing on the packages, a downtrend there a little bit on the packages, but above trend, that's good. On the delivery side, flat. Now, here's where we don't want flat. We want improvement here. So routes dispatched, oh no, flat. And again, flat. So with volume very steady, and I know in any particular operation, it might be a little different, but this is a great time to work on productivity when things are calm, under control, flat. It's a great opportunity to work on maybe knocking the van out or something. Say something about that, Ken?
Yeah, it definitely, and start with the basics. Good time to get your BCs in a truck with a driver, not by themselves, with a driver, so they can evaluate the methods that they're doing. The best way to improve your productivity is improve the stops per hour on each one of your drivers. And that's how you will be able to eliminate routes. If the volume is steady and flat and trending the same on each day of the week, should make great opportunity for your BC to get their butt in a seat with a driver and train.
All right, so by now, most everyone acknowledges that Network 2.0 is quickly or eventually coming their way. And for sure, the most viable and obvious changes are going to be operational. But we shouldn't overlook some of the under-the-radar issues like your business strategy and administrative transformations that are accompanying the operations management challenges. So we've been talking about, and everybody's talking about, I got to put another truck on the road. No, I don't have to put another truck on the road. I got to get deliveries done by 10:30, noon, same day on calls, all those things. All those are very important things, but we don't want to neglect our business. So let's look at some of the changes to habits that CSPs who have already transitioned to 2.0. So what are some of the things that they've focused on, thought about, that are helping them successfully handle the transformation? One's not necessarily an obvious one, but the first one is, do you have an exit strategy? Now, we're not saying everybody and their brother is going to lose their contract. We're not saying that. But part of business strategy is, once you get into this business, or if you've been in it a long time, you need to think about how you're going to get out. What's your timeline? When do you plan to exit the business? So setting a rough estimate can help you guide the strategy. Do you want to get out a couple of years into 2.0? Do you want to get out before 2.0? Do you want to build a huge empire in the next 20 years? It's all about thinking about that kind of thing now. What's your financial target? Determine the amount you'll need from the sale or operation of your business to meet your retirement goals. A lot of times we talk to folks and they're saying, yeah, I think I want to get out. Sometimes they'll have us do a valuation of the business. In not all cases do the valuations coincide with what people think the business is worth. So it'd be worth kind of looking at that at some point. How will you pass on the business? Will you sell it, transfer it to a family member, or keep it as a passive income model? There's some choices you can make. You don't have to sell it. Most people do, but there's just some things you can think about there, right? The second thing is the opposite. Do you want to grow the business? And as we've talked about for several weeks now, there's definitely going to be an opportunity out there for those that want it. Now, when you set out to grow your business, you want to make sure you're trying to grow it on a solid foundation first. So a lot of the folks that are getting the business evaluations and are talking to us about growing in different situations will tell you is you've got to be able to run the show that you have right now very well, right? It doesn't do you any good if we're on the edge. You can't necessarily in this business grow your way to profitability. You have to be able to run a very good, solid home operation first before you go into multi-facility operations, right? So that might be a reason to do some things now that people say, I'm not going to get into 2.0 for another year and a half. Doesn't mean you don't want to work on the foundation now. Second thing here is to assess leadership team and resource scalability. Okay, if you got a good foundation, do you have the pieces and parts that it's going to need, you're going to need to get into multi-facility operations, right? And then, of course, at the top there, growing your business means more revenue, more earnings potential, but it means more attention that you're going to have to pay the business and everything else too. Just a lot of things to think about. So it's just time. It is definitely time to think about, do you want to grow your business? Third thing is build and manage from a budget. So operational complexity will now demand this. It's believe it or not, the way the operation has been for the last 30 something years has been actually pretty easy, but it's not going to be that easy anymore. It's going to become very complex. So you'd want to build a standard budget and expense plan via the eTruckBiz expense management program. And at the end of the presentation, we'll tell you how to get one of these. Okay. That plan and that budget will define expected profit margins and help benchmark your performance. So you got to be able to keep score. Hey, Ken, did you watch any basketball this last weekend?
I did, and there were a few comebacks.
One hell of one. What did Houston know? Was it Houston? Did Houston know how far they had to come back?
I think they did. I think they knew the score and they had a plan to come back, and they did.
No, they knew the score. They knew where they had to get to. And if you're operating your business without keeping score, then how are you going to win? Having a budget and an expense plan prepares you for extra expenses during the network 2.0 transition. So we're going to talk about that here in a second. Anyway, operating from a budget aligns financial reality with operational goals. Okay. How do you know how many stops need to be on the trucks? How do you know how many hours need to work? How do you know what kind of hourly productivity you need? How do you know what kind of dispatch yield you need? All those things they start with a budget plan. Stuff going on there. Okay, number 4, optimize your team and turnover performance. So how you think about recruiting may need to change. If any of you have been around us for any length of time, you know that we harp on one thing, usually, and it's recruiting, always recruit. There probably were some recruits at the game. They're always recruiting, no matter what. So anyways, you want to go through a simple exercise here. Take your drivers and make a real simple tic-tac-toe board here. Put your driver's names down one side. Is that driver willing to change, get into network 2.0, and do they have the ability to? And come up with this real simple. I think did we steal this from a contractor out there? but it's a great exercise. Do they have the
And it,
ability, willingness? Oh, yes, sir.
yeah, and it's something to do before you get into Network 2.0, and then maybe 2 weeks after you get into Network 2.0. Some drivers might not think this is a big deal, and then 2 weeks later, it might be too big of a deal for them, and they're just not interested in doing it. And this is that, and we had our class in Huntsville a couple weeks back. An experienced, very good contractor said his operation is still being hit by turnover because some of the old time good drivers just weren't ready or just not, they weren't willing to change. And if they're not willing, you can't train will. But you can train ability, but you can't train will. Will's just not willing.
The biggest thing for drivers is it's no, and this is something we talked about too. It's no longer you're working for the day, or the day matters. If I get whatever I've got done today, my day's over. It's no longer a day centric operation. It's a shift or hourly operation. That's tough for some folks to do. If they were just used to doing whatever they wanted to, they then you tell them no, certain things have to be done at certain times. You got to be here then and here there. That's not for everybody. So,
Hey,
anyways,
Jeff.
if you have, yes,
Hey, real quick too, this is something to good do every month. I encourage you have your BC fill one out and you fill one out if you're close to the operation, and compare how close are you, and don't fool yourself. Be honest with yourself on how your people are, but do it monthly because things change, people change.
fifth habit or fifth thing to think about is, can you secure some growth capital? So think about how things are right now. Can you do this? Calculate the funds you'll need to fill operational gaps or purchase new equipment. Explore financing options to fund new trucks or implement process upgrades. So a process upgrade could be, maybe I have, so you just went through the previous exercise and now you find out that if out of your 20 drivers, 10 of them score low. So you're gonna, an upgrade would be, you're gonna have to upgrade half your drivers, right? Is that gonna be free? No, it's gonna cost some money, right? So get some growth capital for something like that, build a line of credit that aligns with your long-term goals. Or a lot of you are sitting there saying, I can't do that because I don't make any money now. Can you generate the needed capital from a fully maximized and optimized operation that you have now? A lot of you might remember this from some seminars that we did in the past. The capital needed to expand your operation is trapped in the inefficiencies of what happens today. That's what, when people say they're not making any money and we do a business evaluation, generally we'll find that we're paying the guys too much. How can you pay them too much, Jeff? Can't pay them 75 bonuses for this, 60 bonuses for that. It's sunny out today, so they get a bonus. You can't plan on bonuses. Actually, you can, but it's not built into your negotiation. FedEx isn't paying you to pay bonuses. They're paying what they think they need to pay to survive. But anyways, in order to get secure or to get the growth capital you need to grow, you need to look at your current operation first. Maximize that first. And if you want to know what the capability of your operation to generate needed capital is, and Becca at the end will tell us all about how to get a business analysis. It doesn't cost anything. We'll do it for free. Just need to schedule a session with Becca. She'll tell you about that here in a little bit. Sixth thing is, and again, we need to focus on revenue generating activities. Place attention on your business results instead of purely service. Service is a result, yes, but service doesn't pay the bills. Eliminate non-revenue producing activities. Have somebody like eTruckBiz do them for you. This is huge. And folks, the people And if any one of you is on here that is already in 2.0 and would like to speak up and talk about this, it's the biggest thing is you can't, or you need to focus on what's happening in the operation. You need to focus on the drivers doing what they're supposed to do. For instance, getting a 10:30 delivered by 10:30. That's worth your time, not necessarily going through some resumes or something like that. Even though recruiting is important, there's certain things that are much more important to your operation than doing non-revenue producing activities. Prioritize activities that directly contribute to service quality, compliance, and customer satisfaction. Yes, use eTruckBiz support system that was specifically designed for CSPs to accomplish this. So that's what the business support system is, to take over most of your non-revenue producing activities so you can maximize your revenue and profits. 7, monitor and manage maintenance expense. You want to work on your business, not on the trucks. Evaluate your maintenance spend. Is it within budget, or are repairs draining your resources? How long are we going to hang on to that old truck? Does that old truck produce revenue? Is there some capital tied up there?
Can I add to that, Jeff? Yeah, this is, what people talk about turnover. Drivers do not like driving old trucks with really bad seats and really bad working doors and stuff like. They'll fight through it. If you bought a new truck and you replaced an old beat up one, how much or how many more stops per day would that truck have to average? If a truck payment's $1,300 a month, and that truck's on the road 26 days a month, you really only have to average 12.5 more stops on a daily basis with that truck. So if you have a happier driver, really, if you add that up, it's less than 2 stops per hour that they'd have to produce. Plus that's not even counting the days that a beat up truck or an old truck that might be out of service 2 or 3 days a month would produce. But across the month, with average revenue per stop, 12.5 stops more per day would pay for a new truck. So I'd encourage you to look at that. I know drivers in new equipment seem happier if they have the ability to be happy. Some drivers don't have the ability to be happy. So just wanted to add that.
It's kind of saying invest in better equipment if necessary. Newer trucks may save money and maximize revenue, that's supposed to say. Spend less time in the shop, focus on generating revenue, not fixing trucks. Saving a van payment may be costing you extra dispatches.
Yep. And think about that. If you have to get in a rental, rather than run that old P1000, you might need 2 rentals. And last I checked, you need 2 drivers to run 2 rentals. I've yet to see one guy be able to drive 2 rentals.
It's coming though, Ken. It's coming. AI
drivers.
Consider they may not be time to nurse trucks along while servicing time definite stops. So that's what we're saying. You got to get these time definites done on time. And there's things that have to happen to make that happen. And if you're taking a truck back and forth to the brake guy or this guy, whatever, all those different things that happen, driving trucks around to get fixed is a non-revenue producing activity. Great. Needed leadership. Above all, do you have the right leadership in place that will affect your business? Is your BC adaptable or resistant to change? Honestly, ask yourself that question and really think about that. If you're hanging on to a BC that wants to do it the way they've always done it, because that's the way it's always doing it, and that's the way it happens, and that's what works, you got the wrong BC. Do you and your BC genuinely agree on and genuinely understand and align with needed performance goals? Right? You as the AO say, I got to have 150 stops on these trucks to make this whole operation profitable. Is your BC with you on that?
Yeah, you can't just have the old dog in the window that just does the bobblehead like this. They've got to agree and they've got to buy in to the engineering and the ability of to be able to train a driver to do 150 stops.
Are you monitoring per dispatch yields to ensure optimal financial performance? And hopefully next week we're going to talk a lot about dispatch yields. But are you monitoring that? Are you monitoring your financial performance? Right?
If so, how often are you measuring it?
Once a quarter, once a year. Needs to be all the time. So Becca's going to tell us about a high impact way that allows contractors to transform their old business habits.
So
Hopefully.
what's needed by service providers in order to transform their businesses is the business support system. And what this is, an innovative business support service for FedEx contractors. What does it do for service providers? It will streamline business admin and strategize operations for maximum financial impact. And the BSS mission is to empower contractors to focus on revenue generating activities. So the business support system is going to eliminate these common pain points. So you're bogged down with non-revenue producing tasks, keeping up with compliance requirements, staying operationally efficient, all while trying to grow your business. This is very challenging, and we will take care of that for you. And how we will do this is we're going to take your challenges and address them head on by taking over those time-consuming, low-impact tasks and giving you the tools and data that you need to grow your business. So some of the key benefits here is to remove the admin burden, maximize operational efficiency, provides actionable financial and operational insights, and boost profitability and scalability. So one of our biggest differentiators here is how we help you focus on revenue, which is automating and simplifying your admin tasks, and we will enable you to invest more time and energy where it truly matters, which is growing your business. Also, our BSS clients typically see a 5 times return on investment. What you'll see is that the cost of the business support system is actually less than what FedEx standard budget will show. And we can show you this if you book a business analysis with myself and Jeff. And that way we can go through your own data and see exactly where it will cost you and prove to you that it will be less than what you're actually budgeted for. But in order to book that, you can just email me at becca@eTruckBiz.com, or you can go directly to this website right here to book an appointment. A calendar will pop up and then it's already good to go. And then once that happens, I will then reach out to you to get your data from you. But if you even have any questions about the BSS, any of the programs that are involved, feel free to get a hold of me, send me an email, and I will make sure to get your questions answered.
Supposed to be the question slide, Ken. You got any questions?
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I do not see any questions right now. Please don't hesitate. The thing I'd like to stress mostly is unplanned turnover. Once you start Network 2.0, it's a real thing. And the way to help prepare would be that evaluation of your drivers, as Bob always preaches. Are they willing? Are they able? You do your evaluation, your BC does their evaluation, and then you meet and see where you are. But be honest about that. Because if they're not willing now just to change little things, they're certainly not going to be willing to change when they have to run that truck in the order that you've designated and that service requires designate. So I would definitely urge you that. And then also an honest evaluation of your BC. They will determine your fate, no matter how much you're willing and able to do things. If you've got a BC that's impeding your progress, they're going to be fighting and rowing the boat against you. So I'd encourage you that. Looks like we do have a question now. So when will your next 2.0 seminar class be? That's for you, Jeff.
Tell you what, I don't know if you guys know how to do this in here, because I don't know that I know how to do it in here, but of the folks that are here, how many of you would come to the next one? Do a raise your hand thing if you can. I don't know how to. Oh, there's a couple, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And maybe drop in the chat too if there's specific locations you'd be interested in.
That'd be helpful. We got an idea about one of them, but it'd be good. What idea? Who wants to go to Vegas?
We got in Orlando,
Nobody wants to go to Vegas. Here we go. See, this is
Seattle
what
or
happens,
Seattle or Minneapolis.
right?
It has to be July for Minneapolis.
But no, and seriously, we're gonna take it out there some more. It's actually been updated already since the last time we did it. Yeah, we'll get it out there. We'll get it out
Excellent.
there.
Tips on drivers buying into your safety program. I would say safety is a repetitive event. It's something that you have to talk about every day, and it does take 21 days to change a habit. So I would encourage whoever's ever on the belt to mention safety to every one of your drivers every single day for at least 21 days straight. If they miss it for one day, guess what? The 21-day calendar starts over again. But that would be the start. And then, of course, with our weekly safety lessons, you give them, if they come out on Monday, you give them till Thursday to get them done. If they're not done by Thursday, you sit down with them on Friday morning and say, hey, let's do that safety lesson. The employee's willingness to commit to a safety program is only as strong as the people that are managing the program. If you are consistent in your management, as I said, mentioning something about safety every day, let them know that the safety lesson is coming on Monday. Let's go to the chat here. And we've got Orlando, Seattle, Washington, Minnesota. Seattle, boy, Seattle and Minnesota, very popular today.
It's still too cold up there, Ken.
Like I said, in July, we can make it. But it seems like we do have definite interest, so I think we can be putting something out, correct, Jeff?
Yeah, we'll get it out soon.
So that appears to be all the questions. This was a quick call today, and you didn't have to put up with me for the full half hour. We will be back here again next week with some more points on Network 2.0, correct, Jeff? And some other points of interest. One thing, as Jeff said, as this volume has leveled out, time to get your BCs in the seat, training methods, and observing what your drivers are really doing out there. I think they'll be surprised and you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised of some BC's unwillingness to get into a truck with other drivers. And once again, if they are, then that's the wrong person for your BC role. The BCs, and you will be surprised that there is time available, and you might be surprised that some of those drivers you thought weren't very good might actually be very good at some stuff out there. Take the time to really improve the operation, get a BC in a truck with a driver. That's all we've got for today. If we don't talk to you before next week, please have a safe and profitable week. Thank you very much.